Hello my co-host, how are you doing? Welcome back to another review with Tell Us Sis. In today's review, we are going to take a quick look at several events that had happened across the world between end of January and February 2023. Its overlay effect on the existing circumstances and my suggestion to some of these reactions. It seems this year is gonna be a year of demonstration, riots, and civil unrest. What do you think? You can break my soul, you can break my soul as I enter. While you are busy being distracted by this whole entertainment, Grammy, Beyonce bagging or making history with the number of awards she won, to Sam Smith with his unholy, like we don't know if he's bringing the devil down. He really got the attention because like it's everywhere. I wonder if you are actually keeping your eyes on the reality that is happening around you, because in my own opinion, I think the clock is quickly ticking for a big change to happen. With this, I would like to ask, do you think the prophecy is coming to pass quickly before our very eyes? Please leave your comment at the comment section. Before we get into this review, don't forget that we have the timestamp line below this video in case the video seems too long for you, so you can skip watch. But remember, I always want you to watch till the end because you will learn something. And thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you for watching. And if this is your first time coming across my video, thank you. Welcome. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button if you haven't, because you know the like button helps YouTube video to understand how important this video is and share it to a larger audience. And also share. It is very important. Okay, let's dive into it. You all know about the natural disaster, the earthquake that happened between southern Turkey and Syria. These caused a lot of damages and loss of lives. Last year at Turkey, while the tourist guide was taking us around, the tour guide pointed out to us that Turkey is a high natural disaster prone area and the government always makes provision for it from the way the roads were built. But unfortunately, despite their efforts, sometimes natural disaster is something that is not 100% predictable. This one hit stronger than it had ever hit before at 7.8 magnitude. That was massive. So it claimed a whole lot of lives and destroyed a whole lot of properties, which now more people now need more aids added to the people that already needed aids following the COVID, the war in Ukraine and Russia, and so many other things that caused people to look for aid across other parts of the world. So let's take a moment of silence for the souls of those lost in this disaster. I pray may all their souls rest in peace. And then going on to number one, several demonstrations that had been happening across the globe. This demonstration was by all public sectors in the UK following the continued inflation in the cost of living, including energy bill, food prices, transportation, rent, etc. Everybody is clamoring for salary to be increased, but government say their hands are tied because this is the best way to rebound the economy back. So this is Nottingham doing their own peaceful demonstration. So it's cut across the whole of UK. Things are very expensive. Here we have Ireland continued theirs. This was on the 2nd. It was supposed to be only on the 1st, but apparently Ireland continued theirs until 2nd of February. Protests at Israel fighting back against totalitarian government. Israel is protesting against corrupt government and corrupt prime minister to push back on legislation that would allow government to overturn decisions made by the Supreme Court on democracy. This demonstration had been going on for over a month.
Demonstrators are demanding new elections after the old president was arrested for trying to dissolve Congress.
This is France. Protest is due to the increment of retirement age from 62 years old to 64 years old. The masses do not want it, so they are rising in protest to push back on it.
They're hoping to send a strong message to the government. The French do not want the minimum retirement age raised from 62 to 64. They don't want that kind of society. And they say it puts the burden on the wrong people, workers, blue-collar workers. And they said the system is not about to crash, and they don't need this reform right now. And
this protest is in UK back in January. They are protesting for justice for those that sustained COVID vaccine injury. And this is Iran protest. It's been going on for quite some time now. I'm sure you know about it. Here we have Germany protesting for globalism policy reform. The protest also reached Peru, where men and women took to the street. They are complaining about the struggles they are going through, that they are tired of it and they won't stop until they are ahead.
La gente de San Martín de Porres, Los Olivos.
Protest in Nigeria. This is caused due to fuel scarcity, where the country exports fuel and no money in circulation, in case you're wondering, because Nigeria changed their old note to a new note and they made it a mandate that the old note is going to go out of circulation by 10th of February. So everybody quickly rushed to the bank to change their old note. Now, there is no money for people to withdraw in the bank because the banks claimed they do not have the new note available, where the Central Bank of Nigeria had already said the old note must be out of circulation by 10th of February. Can you make this shit up? I can't. Well, people are out there on the street and in front of banks protesting. They deserve to do that. So you can see in general, all these happening, the political instability, natural disaster, war, disease outburst, interferences by other countries, like so much more. All these drives more and more inflation, more poverty, more frustration, more mental health, more confusion, more stress, increased difficulty in living. Food prices kept going higher and higher. There are even more pressure on the people for a reason. They are all out of control and it's not a coincidence. And this is why we are reviewing it, so that we will try to divert all this pressure into more love. That the more this pressure is coming, instead of us to get absorbed into this pressure and forget ourselves and live in more hate and distractions and disabilities and disengagement, instead let's come together, more together, and put heads together and be more positive. That way we will be able to overcome this period, because like I said, I have the strong feeling that the clock is ticking for something very, very new. So with this, I would say, following the energy bill, this stuff they are saying to switch off light at a particular time.
Crisis. Do you want to actually do something about the cost of living crisis with me? Because I've been talking about the fact that households are going to be $3,000 a year worse off by the end of this year for months. And loads of people have said, what can we do? Well, there is something. And you can do it from the comfort of your own home. This Saturday, people across the UK will be taking part in the Big Power Off 2. It's really simple. At 7 p.m, turn off your power. Turn off your lights, your TV, anything that you can. And then after 10 minutes, and this bit's really important, turn everything back on. When we turn everything back on, it'll create a surge on the energy grid. And that'll hit the energy firms that are currently making £900 a second profit from us hard. This method of protest worked successfully for the people of Spain, and it can work here. So set yourself a reminder and share this with your friends and your family. The The more of us involved, the bigger the impact and the bigger the likelihood it'll make a difference. Let's work together and send a message to the energy firms that these price hikes are not okay.
I don't know how this is going to help because I don't understand how it really works. Key in this campaign is to implore government to support the installation of solar energy to all homes in the UK. That way we do not have to depend on fossil fuel to get energy. So this is what the movement is. It is more viable in my own opinion. So watch this video that I reviewed about it and then check their website. I will also put their link down the description section. You check it out to know more about it. So when they are making the movement, you can join. Then following the whole movement on salary, increment, NHS, teacher, the train services and all that.
The government knows it has lost the confidence of the public here in Britain. And in a recent poll, 2/3 of people thought the government was corrupt. Now that sort of suggests that any legislation this government tries to bring in is possibly not very well designed for the majority of people here in Britain. I'm worried that what you're doing actually is bringing legislation that when there are general strikes and when there are hundreds of thousands of people out on the streets actually protesting about the collapsing and soon to be privatised health system, or the fact that everybody's pay is getting squeezed apart from the bankers and the wealthy. That's what I worry about, that you're actually bringing in these laws for far more people than just the protesters. My big concern here in this House is that we have a government that is simply out of control, and they talk about protesters being out of control, but I think it's the government that's out of control.
I will absolutely agree. Looking at the enormous work teachers are doing, it's not easy to take care of kids. They deserve their salary to be increased because it is not easy, the work they are doing. But I would strongly suggest, instead of focusing on salary increment, I will rather people will focus on tax. Let government do something following the rate of tax deduction that you are getting. Clamor for a fairer taxing system for the lower end citizen. The rich, they pay less and the poor pay more. Also, they talked about the car park. In some places in the UK, they are already implementing sustainability law where if you're driving petrol cars, like they will show you like 15 miles something. I saw it while I was on booking.com.
Do you think this contributed to the car park high fee?
I don't know how this is going to work. Some people, because of high rent, comes to work from outside London. So if they happen to implement these rules all over the UK, how are people going to travel to work? The electric car is very expensive and the cost of living is very high. How do you want people to really adapt? Or are they saying there must be train for everybody to travel by? I really need to know more about this topic. Please, if you know more, leave your comment at the comment section. Let us deliberate on this, because I feel that this is a whole lot twisted. And for the NHS privatization, there's a whole lot of danger that comes with that privatization of NHS. I don't know about you. And finally, going over to Nigeria section, which is about the fuel scarcity. Like I said, I don't know what a nation that exports fuel will be doing lacking fuel, that their citizens can't even get fuel. So I honestly think that this is a typical tool that will guide you into making the right decision whom you are voting in this election, because the time is now. You've got the power now to make the right decision. Everything is staring at you in the face. Every possible disaster, every possible calamity that will happen to you and the next government is staring at you in the face. So do not give chance to the next years that you do not even know if you will ever have this chance again to change things. Now is the time that you've got the chance to change things. Please make use of it. Looking at what is happening in the banks with the scarcity of money following the new naira note, and then following the scarcity of fuel, which it does not make any sense. And then make sure to go and look into all the videos about the presidential candidates and what they are displaying right now. There is no difference what they are displaying right now to what they are going to display when you put them in there. Do not let tribalism, do not let religion dictate how you make your choices. Be realistic for your own good. For your own good. Generally, all these things happening is going to keep on putting more pressure on the way we live our lives today, because I know that so many more agitations or demonstrations may still come, because this is January, February, and we've already had a lot. So I am thinking that we are still going to have a whole lot more, and there may be pressure that may come with it. So what I am going to suggest to you is to learn how to protect and guard your mental health. Just build yourself positively. Try to cut costs so that when things are becoming more difficult, you will be able to manage the changes that come. Try to know how to limit yourself in case it happens that you do not have enough to exist. So you learn how to manage, how to budget, how to do things on a much lower scale. And do not be deceived by the flamboyancy that is happening across the globe. Learn to prioritize your priorities. Learn to budget so that you will be able to control whatever that comes, so that you don't have to put pressure on your mental health. Okay, this is it for this review today. What do you think about this review? Please, I would like to get a comment from you. I would like us to keep on talking about this until we make a difference with our voices. Please don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and please share this video, because this is the only way this video can get around so many others. Thank you once again for being with me on today's review, and see you next week in the next review. One love. Bye. Love you.